Prompt, Dr. Nkem.
All right. Are we live? Oh, okay.
Hello, Alice. Can you hear me?
Very well, Stanley. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Right. I'm seeing this.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
I hope you can hear me now. Can you hear me now?
What is this? I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you maybe take off the headset?
Can you hear me now? Please let me know
Okay.
whether you can hear me now.
Hello, Doreen.
Doreen?
I think we can start, I guess.
Cool.
Hi, can you hear me?
All right. So,
Hello, Doreen.
can I start now?
Please.
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please start.
Yes,
I
we
think
can.
All right.
we lost a
All
few
right.
minutes, so please go ahead.
Just grace us with your voice.
All right. All right. Okay, good afternoon and good evening from Ghana and from other countries in Africa. My name is Doreen Apia, a staff of AfLIA, and I'm going to be your moderator for this session. The theme for the session is Wikipedia in African Libraries, Milestones Attained, Challenges and Outcome. What are the areas to explore? Some of the areas we are going to explore will be why Wikipedia in African Libraries, what have been done so far, and noticeable outcomes of the project. A little background for Wikipedia in African Libraries. Some years back, about 2 years ago, African Library and Information Associations and Institutions, in short, AfLIA, which is the main or the only continental library association in Africa, recognized by African Union, International Federation of Library Associations, and then WIPO. AfLIA was formed in 2013 and registered under the laws of Ghana in 2014, to be precise, October 2015. They are into advocacy for good quality libraries in Africa and also help of libraries in Africa.
I hope you can hear me. Yes, sorry about that. I was saying that my focus is going to be on Wikimedia as an education tool in higher institutions. And we've realized, especially from the pandemic, that education can be put on hold for some time, but it doesn't have to be because we have platforms like Wikimedia that can help the students. What is happening at universities is that there is a difference in what people perceive as education content. Some of them look at what they are told, yet the others look at that
Hello, Doreen.
as
Can you
what they
hear
are
me?
passionate about.
Mm-mm.
So when you are contributing to Wikimedia,
Hello,
uh,
Alice. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
Stanley.
focus on
Very
not
well.
on
I can hear you.
only what is taught in class,
Okay.
Uh,
but
I
what
think
is
Doreen is
passionate
having
about. Then
huge internet problems. I don't know if it's from my end, but I can't hear
Mm-hmm.
anything.
can you
Mm-hmm.
hear me now?
You can
Better?
hear me.
Mm-mm.
Please, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
How about now?
Hello, can you hear me?
How about now?
It's much better, but
Can
if
you
you
hear me
can
now?
hear us, maybe you can switch to low bandwidth mode.
But I'm still having internet challenges. Hello, I can't really hear anything myself. Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Alice, I
Yep.
think you can
Hello.
hear me. Probably I may have to step in so that the session
Very well.
can continue
Yeah, because
smoothly.
I can't hear anything.
Sorry, how
Continue.
about now?
Mm-hmm. Stanley, go ahead.
This is very wrong.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
That
Yeah. Sincere apologies for the hiccup. As we always say, this is Africa. Things do happen.
people are not
Yeah. But
knowledgeable
thank you and
about
welcome to this
different
session.
products
The moderator for
with
today is
media
Doreen Appiah,
that they can
who is the
use.
programs officer for
Many are
AfLIA.
using
We also have the
only Wikipedia,
Wikipedian in
but they are not
residence
as
for the
knowledgeable
Wikipedia
in
and Community Libraries
universities
project.
about
Um,
other
Alice, there's a feedback from your
platforms
side.
like
Probably you should.
Wikimedia Community,
There's
Somebody
a
is speaking.
feedback.
Wikidata, Wikibooks. That
Yeah. Yeah. And then my name is Stanley. I'm the research coordinator at AfLIA. I work with Alice and Doreen. Today we want to um, show all present here. Uh, we want to walk with you throughout the journey of the Wikipedia and African Libraries project, how it came about, what we've been able to achieve so far, some key highlights on that, some evaluation feedback we've received from the learners, and more importantly, the way forward. Um, yeah. So, Doreen, if you're in, you can take over, but
Hello.
until then,
All right. Can you hear me,
yeah.
please?
We also have
Hello. Can you hear me?
We also have Dr. Nkem Osigwe also joining us. She's the director for training at AfLIA. And before we begin the panel discussion, I think we would like to welcome her and probably for her to um, just give us a brief insight into how this whole project came into being, how AfLIA reached out to Wikipedia, the Wikimedia Foundation, and how the partnership between the two organizations was brokered, resulting in this project. Dr. Nkem, maybe you can start.
Hello. My internet just came back on now. What's the question, please?
Hello, Dr. Nkem.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello, can you hear
before
me?
we enter into the discussions, we just want to hear if you can brief us on how the partnership with the
All
Wikimedia
right. Okay.
Foundation came about. AfLIA
All right. Okay.
and
Okay.
this whole project. Where did it start from, and how did we get
Yeah.
here? Thank you.
All right. So AfLIA saw what other librarians and other clients were doing or are doing, and we in the four sets of libraries, even in Africa, particularly in Africa, to be a part of that will assist the countries and we're interested in helping the communities, giving stories, and their own stories. So that's how we do it. And then it was also led by through a long string of them, email and so on, and he eventually so what we wanted to do extension, they believed in us that AfLIA, that we know what that we have an idea of where we want to go to. So that is how the whole thing started. Thank you very much. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello.
Hello, Dr. Nkem. Yes, we were able to hear you. Stanley?
Hello, Alice.
Yes, Stanley. I think Dr. Nkem has given her submission, so we're waiting on you to take us forward.
Yeah. Hello, Dorian. Can you hear me now? Can you take over, or should we continue?
Thank you, Jeremiah. I see increase. When you say content,
All right. Okay.
it's
Hello, everybody. Again,
it's
this is Stanley.
anyone can include it, anyone can add
We'll
it,
just continue the
anyone
session
can
as much as we can.
contribute.
Unfortunately,
And so I
the
like for you
internet
to
is not
formalize that,
helping
oh, I created this
very
article, it's
well,
mine.
but
Yeah. You create
we
it
still
for
need to
consumption,
continue
and
nonetheless.
Wikipedia is a joint platform everyone can join
I'm
on
still
and
hearing some
improve.
background feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
from who, but it's yeah. All right. So Dr. Kim has given a general overview how this project came about and where we've gotten to now. And I think for us at AfLIA, we really consider this as a great success story, given our objectives and the vision that we stand for promoting access to information as much as we can. And given that the Wikimedia Foundation is also aligned with these same visions in the most open way as possible, I think it was a it was a great opportunity for us to connect. And the project, maybe I'll touch a couple of I'll just touch on a few things relating to some of the technical processes that we undertook to make this project happen. That was obviously going to be the next stage, but since we're having issues with our moderator, I might as well continue with that. And feel free, if you have any questions, you can send the questions in and we'll see that and respond to that. But again, apologies. So in reaching out to the Wikimedia Foundation and in couching this project idea, we had targeted at least 10 librarians from across 30 African countries. And to the best of our knowledge, this appeared to be the most wide-scale, ambitious project covering this number of countries managed or implemented by an organization. And so we felt that it was a strong challenge. So how to pull this off and make it a success, we started asking ourselves a couple of questions. With this target that we have set for ourselves, I mean, we knew that AfLIA, being a continental organization, serves more than 40 African countries and counting, in fact. So we have membership from all of these African countries. What was the best way? Because the scale of about 300 librarians and information workers, reaching out to them um, it wasn't an easy target. So how were we going to let people know about this opportunity? What were the expectations of these people if they showed interest in this project that we're talking about? How are we even going to host this number of participants, and then train them on that? How are we going to manage them, given that in Africa we have all these time zones and all? And of course, the big issue about the language barriers. And then how are we even going to keep them together such that they receive updates and announcements in good time, and then sustain the level of interest so that we are able to control to a limited level the drop-off rates and all. So these were a couple of the questions that we were asking ourselves technically, and the best way to resolve them. So I'm going to quickly go through, and we are sharing these and giving out these informations because these were things that we had documented as part of the knowledge sharing during the monitoring and evaluation. And we believe that as long as Wikimedia Foundation continues to partner with other organizations to roll out various interventions for training and bringing people to contribute on the various sister platforms, there's always a great opportunity to share the learnings for others to also pick up from that. Yeah, so with that huge number, obviously managing them at a go was going to be a problem. So what we decided to do, given the 1 year span for the project, was to break them into cohorts. So we had a pilot cohort, and we had a cohort 1 and cohort 2, which recently graduated. And for each of them, we rolled out adverts. AfLIA has a really extensive network for communication. We have our social media channels. We also have a list of people signed on to our newsletters and news alerts. And so we use that medium. We also have a Google forum. So all of these platforms, we use that. And each of our member institutions also have their own network of librarians that they're connected to. So they snowball and then roll over so that as many people could hear. And that's how come we're able to mobilize interest from across Africa, from all these other regions. We also had instituted the Moodle platform, which we were using to build the capacities of librarians through previous programs, the INELI, and then the AfLAC and all that. And so we extended its capacity because this volume of students were coming. We needed to upgrade it so that we'll be able to do that. And given the language barrier, we had to translate the course into English and French, and deploy the course in English and French, and train the people in English and French. In fact, we had also done that in Portuguese, just that we could not get participation from the Lusophone Africa, and so that's what happens. But so the learning as deployed on Moodle was a blend of self-learning and live sessions. So you would have a session where the VIR would have direct contact with you, train you, put you through, and then invitation from the guest speakers, who happen to be people, very prominent persons already within the Wikimedia community with various special capacities. And that was a very critical strategy for us to also connect and link the librarians world with the Wikimedia community. We also had weekly office hours that was dedicated to helping the learners who were having problems. And more importantly, we set up WhatsApp groups to manage the participants. So we had the English WhatsApp group, we had a different WhatsApp group, and for each of the cohorts, there were WhatsApp groups. For pilot cohort and the cohort one, after graduation, we promoted them to an open platform on Telegram where they can continue to interact and get more information among themselves. Yeah. Yeah. So we are talking about from the pilot cohort till the cohort one, we're actually talking about more than 400 contact hours of online training. And that's, for us, we consider that's a very huge investment. And thanks to the Wikipedian residents who will share more about some of the outcomes and key highlights
I think
from the
it
course.
comes down
Yeah.
to
So I
giving
think this now
opportunities
would
to
be
both
what I would
male
call
and
the
female
various
users,
approaches and technical
especially
procedures
women
we
support.
adopted so that we'd be able to mobilize the needed number. It wasn't easy, but of course, it took a lot of sacrifice and the commitment from Alice, the Wikipedian in residence, and the team, Dr. Kim, Doreen, and the IT team and department from AfLIA. I think we were able to pull this off. But maybe enough talk from me for now. I would like to invite Alice to probably give us some highlights about the course. Some of the critical outcomes. Can you share some with the audience? Thank you.
Can you give an example
Thank you
which
very
is
much,
contributed in
Stanley,
Uganda?
and good afternoon, good morning, good
It's
evening
important for
to
women
everybody
achievers
that's joining us.
to
I'm not
mind
being very tech savvy, so I think I
politicians.
disabled the
And
camera
then
settings at some
let
point, so my
me
voice should
contribute with some of that
suffice.
content
My name
which
is
helps
Alice
also them
Chibombo,
to
and I
contribute
am the
more towards the
Wikipedian in
development.
residence with AfLIA. Thank you very much for turning up for this session. We've lost a little bit of time, so I'll immediately go into the matter for the day. Perhaps what Stanley forgot to mention also was coming into this course, we knew that African librarians were a huge, untapped, and very vast resource. And they are a notoriously hard group to crack for one reason or the other. So we commissioned a survey, and the results were, I wouldn't say shocking, but they were food for thought. And over 50%, actually over 60%, were not aware that there were any Wikimedia affiliates or communities within the countries they live in. And we are talking about countries that already have existing affiliates, but that's just for context. You will see where it comes in. So I'll just go to the challenges and the outcomes because they'll reflect the highlights of this. So one of the biggest challenges we found was that librarians are not a homogeneous entity. We had librarians who are at the top of their profession. They've achieved everything there is to be. They are academic. Some are primary school librarians. Some are academic librarians. Some are special librarians, but they are not a homogeneous entity. So trying to meet them at their point of need, designing a course that is going to actually offer them responsibility for the skills that they already have and align them with the mission of Wikipedia was a challenge for us, a very big challenge. It is still something that we are working on because the course is getting refined and refined over time. And then the other challenge that we faced was I wouldn't say low literacy, but the literacy was lacking. And not just the technical literacy, but the functional literacy. This is a true story from experiences that I've had with some librarians, and the functional literacy was lacking. Believe it or not, there were librarians who were not able to read a statement so that it could make logical sense. But these again are individuals you have to design a curriculum for and see that at the end of the day, they actually graduate and are empowered and are able to pass on the skills they've learned to their community. And then the other thing we found out was that getting what we call a Wikibrarian was a very, very big challenge. Basically, a Wikibrarian is a combination of a librarian and a Wikimedian. And getting an individual that is at the intersection of these two worlds was quite a challenge. But one of the highlights then is we were able to discover them. They were in hiding, and some of them are in this audience. They were in hiding, but they came out in due time. And I cannot thank them enough for the invaluable support that they offered the students, sharing their expertise, sharing their knowledge, showing us how to actually highlight our collections in various articles on Wikipedia. But then one of the things that I found key in terms of our relationship with the African Wikimedian communities, so allow me to be very free here, was that there was sabotage. And on a scale of 1 to 10, it was at around 8. And I'm going to illustrate the sabotage that we encountered. We had a number of experienced Wikimedians joining the course, and perhaps out of curiosity or to know what it is that the course is offering. And then after a while, you would not see them in class, or you would not see some students in class. And when you reach out to them, because you're teaching them and you've now had a connection with them out of class, and they tell you that our user group said not to come for these courses. They've downloaded the materials and they are going to be teaching us this. And the day I discovered that, that was one of the biggest challenges. I just could not believe it, but I think I was just being naive at that point. So that's one of the challenges that we encountered. But let me just go to the outcomes, because a number of good things came out of this. Like I said, we discovered a number of African Wikibarians, and their knowledge is extremely valuable. Unfortunately, they are very reclusive. So, but it's a continuing relationship. It's something that we are working on. And then we've also had increased participation of African librarians in Wikimedia events. We commemorated One Lib, One Ref in January, and then as a collective, we were able to do that in Wiki AfLibs 2.0. In Wiki AfLibs 2.0 in the African Librarians Week in May. And the results, I'll post the link to the dashboard so that you can see it. And then we've also seen a number of graduates from the course now driving some form of change or taking responsibility for some initiatives within their community. We have increased participation of Wikipedia and Wikimedia events in countries where there are no activities. And at this point, I think I would like to single out Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a country where we've seen a number of editathons happening, which previously was not the case. And these editathons are actually being facilitated by graduates from this cohort. And we've also noticed that a number of African librarians are now approaching their user groups and they're coming to the table with something, because previously it was let us come and let us be trained, but they are now approaching their user groups and saying, listen, I am bringing this audience, I have been empowered, but I will need the umbrella of the resources that you have from the foundation. So that is something that we are really proud of. But another thing that we are also proud of is the content gaps that have been filled. Dr. Nkem and Felix stole my answers from the previous presentation, but as part of the course completion requirements, we required individuals to submit at least an article about an information institution or 2 pictures of an information institution in their country, because as ordinarily we can't access these places, but these individuals probably have some leverage in these places, and as a result we had over 2,000 images of African information institutions on Wikimedia Commons. The articles are there for you to see. I'll also share the link to the dashboard so that you can see what is happening there. And something else that we are extremely proud of is librarians are now actively participating in Wikimedia events. Just in Wiki Indaba alone, we have note takers, we have people working on various teams like the logistics team, the program team, note takers, session hosts, and all these are actually graduates from the course. So Doreen, Stanley, I hand over to you.
Thank you. I apologize for the inconvenience caused by my attendance here. But to start from your explanation of when you were talking about the topic was the technical processes of the changes. I think a lot of things came up. But I want to know if there were interesting feedbacks received after training. If you can share with us some of the interesting feedbacks you have received so far after the training.
Doreen, I was not able to hear what it is that you said.
Hello, can you hear me, Alice?
I will try to. I will try to.
Can you hear me, Alice?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. Okay, so what are some of the interesting feedback you received after the training?
Some of the interesting feedback.
Feedback, yeah. Maybe Stanley
Obviously,
can answer the question since he is more into statistics or other things. Stanley, can you please help us with this?
yes. Stanley can answer, and then I'll also answer after he does.
Yes. Hello, Stanley, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Very well.
Yes, yes, Stanley, yes. So
Yeah,
can
I
you
hope
please share with
I
us
sound
some of
very
the
clear. Yeah.
Yes.
I hope I sound very clear. I'm just going to touch on, like you're saying,
Yes.
some some feedback briefly, and I'll just like to mention that after the course we rolled out an evaluation survey because we so much needed to get the feedback, and then more importantly compare it with some of the learnings that we got from the pre-course evaluation or the pre-course survey, because before they all started, we needed to understand the kind of participants who will be interested in this, and then to know the level they are, and then to see how best we can through this course improve upon their knowledge and capacity. So yeah, in fact the evaluation is still ongoing, but we were able to get the external evaluator to give us some preliminary feedback. I think for the purposes of this panel discussion, I can share a couple of them, but these are things that probably you can take note of. We, from the evaluation, we noticed that um, on the average, each participant was spending between 3 to 4 hours, online hours, for the course, and this included learning the course materials or reading the course materials, performing assignments or doing assignments, attending live sessions, and the weekly office hours. So yeah, and then that's another critical thing. We realized that 70% of the participants who participated or who were part of this whole wiki AfLibs experience had no prior experience with editing Wikipedia at all. And for us, we believe that that was a huge and significant capacity building opportunity, or if you like, yes, opportunity that we took. So all those who went through the mill from cohorts, from the pilot cohort till the cohort two, 70% of them actually didn't have any prior experience. And that obviously gives an indication of the work that we had to put into getting or bringing all of these persons up to speed and giving them the needed capacity. And kudos to the WIR. Obviously, that should also give you an indication of why the stress and the struggle, because many of these were newbies, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and then another important feedback for us. Now we're talking about how we've been able to bring people into the body of the Wikimedia Foundation, contributing free knowledge. Okay, and then we're also looking at the next level. How were these people, or how have they been able to personally host and even collaborate to host Wikipedia events or events within the community? And then if you compare this feedback with the baseline survey, we're actually seeing a 15% increase in those who have been able to personally host or collaborate to organize events within the Wikimedia Foundation. And that's also a critical feedback for us.
Yeah.
And more importantly, we're also seeing a marked shift in perception towards Wikipedia. In fact, as a resource for free knowledge, we're looking at this in terms of how information available on the Wikipedia platform is viewed by these people, the editing process, the the editing process, the review process, and all of this other negative feedback the outside world attaches to Wikipedia. If you look at the baseline survey and now the feedback we're receiving, it's really interesting that we've seen a shift in the perception because they've gone through through the process, the trainings that have gone through, and all that. Now, here's the other aspect also that the baseline told us that about 19% of them were already part of Wikimedia communities. We are seeing an increase in that statistics at the moment to 45%. And then the other percentage, some of them, that's because there are no existing Wikimedia communities in their countries at the moment. But that is also a really significant statistics for us. And then here's the other thing too. Okay, yeah. Then we are also talking about, besides the Wikimedia environment, what other things has this actually given? What other skills or competences has this training exposed the librarians or the information workers to? What other things have they gotten? And we're seeing from the feedback with the evaluation and enhanced computer and digital skills. A lot more people have now gotten the ability to work on online collaborative platforms. They've built their capacity to be able to do a lot more things online in terms of digital literacy. And then another interesting angle to the positive ripple effect is the research competences and the capacity of these people have also been enhanced, as reported by the survey, that they've been able to learn a lot more, identifying credible sources, evaluating the eye to evaluate articles, and all of these competences stretch beyond anything related to Wikipedia. So here's another thing. Of course, this is a good feedback for us, of course, and then any other person when you're looking at trying to establish or build a similar training program. Alice, this may also interest you. Some of the favorite sections that they
Uh-huh.
reported.
Which
The most
ones?
favorite section was section 3.
The
The
one of
most section,
editing?
the most, yes, and this had to do with contributing to Wikipedia body of knowledge.
Yes,
That's the most favorite section by all of
by
them.
far.
And the second most favorite, yes, by far, really by far. And the second most favorite was evaluating Wikipedia with a critical eye. I'll just end that one here. Like I said, the report will come out very soon and it will be
Mm.
published. And so anyone who is keen to learning more about the feedback from the participants, I'm sure you'll be able to get more information. But I'll end there. I'm sure we'll go into the conversation about the challenges, but when it comes up, we'll go there. Thank you very much.
All right, Stanley.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alice,
I wanted to add something to what Stanley has said in relation to the favorite section, which was section 3. And I must at this point give credit to Vinand van der Valt of Rhodes University, because this section, even if you look at the statistics, was the one that had the live sessions that were the best attended. On average, we would have 40 people in the class, but we were registering over 70 or 80 people coming in there. And the feedback after that was very many people thought that Wikipedia was a hallowed ground. This is very holy ground. I cannot walk on it in these stained sandals. And now they were realizing that they could actually contribute, and not just contribute, but how to link their collections to the content that was in the articles. So that is very, very understandable on that, and I am glad that it had the impact that it did. There's something else I forgot to mention earlier, Doreen. I have been kind of low-key stalking the participants from the section. And when Stanley talks about wiki or librarians that have been empowered to actually have events, host events, facilitate events in their home countries, I think we've registered around 7 events so far that have been organized independently by graduates from this course, as well as those are 7 events. And again, most of these events have been in Zimbabwe, but we've also been approached by a number of library associations or local consortiums. As I speak, we are looking at around 5 requests for these associations and these consortiums to be able to adapt this curriculum as a way of fulfilling their strategic objectives for their members. I will not talk about Uganda because a prophet is never believed in their hometown, and I know you're here in the audience, but that's me being petty. But these are some of the favorable outcomes. And also, like I said, we've been able to see African librarians not working in isolation now. They are now working a lot with their local user groups. Even if the user group is not in their country, they are now seeking the support of user groups within their region. Hello, Doreen. Doreen, unfortunately, I can't hear you well. Maybe you could type in the chat section and we could take the conversation from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Alice.
Yes. Yes, Stanley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. I'm sure you can hear me. I think the next
Mm-hmm.
thing to talk. I don't know how many minutes we have left. The next thing
11.
to. Oh, okay. Then let me
Mm,
just do this quickly because I'm sure that's what Doreen is probably trying to let us. Because we, of course, this project and capacity building opportunity didn't come without trouble. In fact, it came with a whole lot of trouble.
Eddie.
But the good news is that we, on every time, at every occasion, and on the real time, was quickly adapting, trying to minimize some of these issues that come up, so that as much as possible the learners are comfortable enough to be able to complete their the course. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but we wanted to learn from them what their topmost challenges were.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I won't go deep into that, but the report would explain more for those
Mm-hmm.
who have are curious enough to learn more. But probably I'll just touch on the top five.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, the most prominent challenge for the learners, and I'm talking about all who, from pilot cohort till the cohort two, was that they found it difficult balancing work schedules uh, with with a course. Remember I was talking about, on the average, we had each learner spending not less than 3 to 4 hours for the week on the course, attending
Mm-hmm.
lessons, live sessions, weekly hours, reading the course, performing or doing their assignments and submitting them. I think for many who could not complete the course, this
Mm-hmm.
appeared to be the most challenging issue
Yeah.
because of probably equally strenuous work schedules. Balancing
Mm-hmm.
them was an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second topmost challenge was their inability to submit assignments, and obviously you could read a whole lot of meaning into that, probably because they had they had other
Mm.
more, what do you call it, other duties to
Competing
perform, or they
interests,
probably didn't understand, yes, or complete the course, from one section to
even
the other and
navigating
all.
the
Then the
interface.
third topmost challenge
Mm.
had to do with internet challenges, which
Mm-hmm.
could not allow them to access the live sessions for
Mm.
better understanding. In fact, the live sessions formed a critical component for learners to really capture the concepts for each of the section and what is required for them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if internet was an issue that blocked one from participating in the live sessions, then it went a long way to really harm them as in continuing the course, because
Mm-hmm.
understanding for some of these things were much hinged on the live sessions and the weekly office hours. But this is Africa, and similar to what we've been experiencing right now today, internet challenges was a big issue. Then the fourth the critical challenge reported by the learners had to do with the platform. Well, a lot of them, or for those within the category, they considered that the Moodle platform was a bit cumbersome for them, a bit
Mm-hmm.
complex for them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the top fourth challenge. And then the last had to do with the demand on internet data to complete what they needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Attending live sessions required data.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly hours required data.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they missed the live sessions, going back to watch the recorded sessions equally required data. And we know how data is quite expensive in Africa or in our part of the world. So for them, they
Mm-hmm.
considered completing the course indirectly expensive, even though it was fully funded and free. with support from the Wikimedia Foundation, but the data became quite a hindrance for them. So these are the top five, I would say, the top five challenges. More details will come in the report. Thank you.
All right. Stanley, let me just add on to that because those are the challenges from the participant side. And as the Wikipedian in residence, I faced the challenge of languages. The course was designed to be delivered in English, in French, and Portuguese. And so far, we've been focusing on the English participants, but the French participants also had their unique challenges. So, when we come to the side of the English participants, this is the Wikipedia that we are familiar with. French Wikipedia is something completely different. The principles are the same. The principles and everything are the same, but it is something different, even in its layout, its structure, and everything. So, navigating that and then having to identify guest facilitators or guest presenters for that became, for lack of a better word, a very, very big headache, but it was solved. Uh, they would know each other within the network, and then they would be able to, identify the resources that they need. But I think that the results from the French side would have also been better than they are, if the community was willing to participate. Then, when we come to the English side, we had a number of participants who spoke Arabic, very active. They know what's up, they know what's going on, but they would rather speak or interact in Arabic. Then we also had the Swahili speaking Wikipedians asking, can we not have this delivered in Swahili? And at the moment, just because the opportunity existed, it was not viable. We did not have the resources for that, but this is an opportunity for us going ahead. So the languages were an issue. Unfortunately, from the Portuguese side, we did have the manpower, but no students came up. It could be that we did not reach out to them, or maybe the outreach that we did was not sufficient to convince them to join the course. So on my part, the languages were something else altogether.
Right, Alice, that's very true. And like I said, for the lack of time, I decided to just focus on the top five, and
Mhm,
I think it resonates well because the English participants were naturally more than the Francophone participants.
mhm,
If we do a language-based analysis, the
mhm,
language barrier for the French part is the topmost challenge
mhm,
for them.
mhm,
But then if you combine and do a general analysis,
mhm,
the challenges from the English cohorts or the English
mhm.
participants override that of the. But yeah, so the report is going to give all these dynamics and details. But
All
it's good
right.
you pointed it out. Yeah.
All right, Stanley. Also the sustainability plan beyond this
Yes.
project.
Maybe
Um, okay, when it
you
comes
can
to
start discussing that.
sustainability,
Dr. Kam is here. Yeah.
yep.
What next?
What next? The course was divided into 5 sections. The first two dealt with information literacy, and this is where you find individuals now looking at how they relate their existing skills to what the world of Wikimedia has to offer. And then the third section dealt with contributing to the body of knowledge, but the fourth and the fifth dealt with community engagement and outreach and plans of engagement. So these are actually areas of specialization. Not everybody is going to go on to become a good editor. Others are going to become very good mobilizers. Others are becoming very good mouthpieces for us. Others have access to collections and archives that we never dreamt of. So where they want to specialize is in filling content gaps. So beyond this, we would want to offer this course in terms of in pathways of specialization, that there's something general for everybody else, for all of you, but beyond a certain section. Okay, so you want to know more about how you can leverage Wikipedia and how you can use the existing skills on it. This is the section for you. So you want to engage your community more and you want to see this kind of outcome from your community, then this is the pathway for you. But that is just me speaking for now. That is something that excites me. So Stanley, Dr. Nkem, Doreen, please take over.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me now, please? Hello,
Too
can you
well.
hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much. Stanley and Alice, in fact, Dr. Nkem is also incapacitated just like me. So can you please give us a few takeaways for this discussion? Can you give us a few takeaways? We have been informed we have just about 5 minutes. So can you give us a few takeaways that we can take it up, run up, something for us to take home?
Right. Stanley,
Just
please.
in a minute or two.
Yes, I think Dr. Nkem will start the conversations around what next and plans.
Hello,
All right.
can you hear me now?
Mhm.
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
Yes,
so
please go ahead.
Yes, please,
All
we
right,
can
that's
hear
great.
you.
That's great. So, yeah. So, what next is that we are not stopping. We have put our hands to the plow and we are not looking back. We are looking at how to give more visibility to books in libraries using Wikipedia and sister projects. We are looking at how to bridge the gap between the academia and Wikipedia all over Africa. That's a large one because we're going to delve into open education practices using Wikiversity and Wikibooks, and librarians will be in front of the charge. So this course was really just the first step to going deeper into this. Then we're also going to have them kind of a repository of courses, more courses that people can dig into. Short, sharp tutorials on Wikipedia and sister projects that libraries all over Africa can use and bring in more people in their user communities. So these and more, that is what we are looking forward to. Thank you very much.
The best
All right,
is
thank
yet to
you.
come.
Thank you so much. From the statistics that Stanley gave, I must say I'm impressed. 70% of the participants did not have prior knowledge or prior experience in Wikipedia. And I must say that this particular project or the course has really changed the mindset of many librarians, many academicians, and even ordinary students and others. It is really a great step in the right direction. And I know that, as Dr. Nkem has said, we are not going to stop. We are going to open our doors and our website and other things to librarians to continue with the practices, with the training. I believe that as librarians have taken over, we will not stop. We are going to tell our own stories on Wikipedia. We are the best people as African librarians to tell our stories, because like someone will say, if you want your resources to be shared far or to be a hit, contact the librarian. Librarians are the best. Thank you so much for coming in. We are grateful for your time.
Doreen, let me just chip in something. We noticed that we
Very many unanswered.
got a couple of questions just by
Out.
way of announcement. After here, we'll be at the booth, so feel free to come
Yes.
over. Let's respond to all your questions. I heard a lot of feedback regarding the reports and some of the highlights I just gave. The reports are going to be available, and once it's ready, definitely you're going to get the full report on the AfLIA website. Of course, we're going to even submit that along with other learnings to the Wikimedia Foundation. So it's going to be widely published. So yes, keep fingers crossed. You're going to get more information about some of the interesting feedback we've received and the learnings from this project. Thank you. Doreen, you
All
can take
right.
over.
All right, thank you. If you are a librarian or you are working in any information institution and you are not yet a member of AfLIA, kindly contact the membership officer at aflia.net, get your forms, fill it, and become a member of AfLIA. We have so many goodies for you, just like what we just shared with you. Thank you, and see you in other sessions. Bye.
See